Hi friends, it's Lisa Hetrick. Welcome back. I'm so grateful you could join me today. Today I'm sharing kind of a final look through of my 100-day project. I'm actually only made it to 40 flutters in my 100-day project, but I wanted to kind of walk through it with you. So this was my week 4-ish, 5-ish. And the 100-day project is still going on. I've just had to take a little break for some other work priorities. And when I started this project, I knew I was going to give myself a lot of grace. So I did it. I did. I gave myself a lot of grace. So for this series of flutters that I'm going to share with you, I used my DaVinci watercolors. All of the supplies that I've used are linked below. This is the palette from Sylvan Clayworks it's a moon palette that I often show. I've got a bit of the tube watercolors from DaVinci in this palette, and I just love this palette. It's just so beautiful, and the colors are just so beautiful. And I really just wanted to play with all of my DaVinci watercolors, and they're just beautiful and transparent. This is the Joyce's Mother Green DaVinci palette. I love this palette. It can really mix up some beautiful neutrals and some beautiful colors for florals. That permanent rose and the mother green, the colors are just delightful. And I just love those colors, that Prussian blue. I can do a lot with it to mix up some of the black watercolors because I used quite a bit of that in some of the flutters that I painted this week, or in week 4-ish, 5-ish. So here is another one of my DaVinci palettes. I've shared this one in a past video. And then here is another one that has quite a range of beautiful, beautiful floral colors. That Rockstar Pink that I'm pointing to is really Opus Pink from DaVinci. I just love all of these colors. They're just delightful and fun to work with. So let's dive into the sketchbook and just start walking through and take a peek at the last round of flutters that I painted. So, and then I'll go back to the beginning and show you all the ones from the beginning. So in this round, I started painting on the back sides of paper, watercolor paper in the sketchbook that I had already painted on. So this is the silver studded blue. Those blues and those purples are just delightful. And you can see that I painted it on the back of that Indian leaf butterfly. This gorgeous one, it's really just one that I made up. I wanted to play with some of the blues and purples, and I had hand painted some floral elements to just kind of create this fun flutter. This is called the Helkonian. She is just Isabella Helkonian, excuse me. I just love those oranges and yellows, and she's probably one of my favorites so far. This is a Sarah Helkonian, and I just loved her. I actually have produced her into some other products. She's just so cute. This is the Hutchinson's High Flyer. I loved the oranges and the pinks and the neutrals in her. She was just so pretty, so fun to play with. This is one of the North American Emperor moths, and she's super, super wonky, super, super wonky. Love this one. This one was kind of a bit of a challenge for me to try to keep those greens and get those greens to stay pretty clear without mixing them up too much with the brown tones in there. Now, the black swallowtail, she was a super challenge, but I just kind of had a lot of fun with the granulating neutrals that I was able to mix up to get the black watercolors. So just a lot of fun. And I just kind of kept going with the emerald swallowtail, doing the same thing, trying to create some neutrals. And I used some Daniel Smith in this one. Cascade Green from a different palette that I have here. Cascade Green is one of my favorite greens from Daniel Smith. It's all I can say about it is it's magical. If you've watched some of my other tutorials, I've shared Cascade Green before, and you can see in the palette here that it is a granulating color, but it also has a little bit of this turquoise blue in it. So when you're using it, you can see the granulation in the color, but you can also see some of the greens and the blues and the turquoise. It's just a wonderful, magical color. So this was the flutter that I actually spent some time. It's called the Camberwell Beauty, and it's got quite a bit of detail in it compared to some of the other flutters that I created. So this was a very different one, but fun nonetheless. This one was called the Pygmy Blue, but the Pygmy Blue flutter butterfly is really not blue. It's got a lot of violets in it. This one was a bit of a challenge for me to try to make sure I didn't create mud with the orange colors. This is a brimstone flutter, and she has beautiful, beautiful transparent wings. And I just kind of wanted to play with the yellows in this one just to kind of have some fun. So this painting was kind of my 40th and final flutter that I painted. I have a large striped swallowtail up here that I painted and I hand cut out. And I painted this on a Saturday night. It was actually March 13th, and it was the anniversary of my mom's passing in 1998. And I started my 100-day project this year kind of as a grace project for healing and thinking about her. So I felt like it was time to end my 100-day project for now, and I might pick it back up. But let's take a little quick flip through of all of the flutters that I've painted so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip through both of the sketchbooks that I worked in and just kind of talk a little bit about the flutters and what I'm planning on doing with them. So I've already started to just kind of reflect back on my experience with painting them and have started to take some of these flutters that I really enjoyed painting or that I love the most and start to make some products with them. So I'm going to have a new stationery line coming out in my shop with some of the flutters. So some new note cards, and I've got some new stickers and some really fun things that are coming. And I enjoyed painting these flutters so much. I will be turning some of them into art prints that will be available in my shop. And I suppose I'm going to probably pick this project back up and paint some more flutters. I paint flowers and flutters all the time, so this isn't the end of me painting flowers and flutters. I just felt it was time for me to take a break and move on to painting other things and also prepare some beautiful things for spring in my shop to share with all of you. This project was very enjoyable to do. It started in January, and like I said, I painted 40 flutters, and I painted one every day for about 40 days. Towards the end, I was a little bit delayed from my dailies, but that's okay. I went into this project with a lot of grace and gave myself a lot of space to use this time for reflection and healing. And and I think it's just going to become part of my practice to use this as my self-care practice. So it has been quite the joy, and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. And there are 3 other videos where I kind of walked through all of these flutters as well. And here's the final look at some of the final flutters that I painted. And they were just so much fun. And I would encourage you to find a way to have an art practice or a making practice or doing something with your hands that brings you great joy, whether that's cooking or making something or gardening or whatever it is that brings you great joy. There's something about this activity that is really healing and great for your self-care. Even if you just get out a brush and some paint and you just start making marks on a page, it's all a wonderful experience. So I ended my 100-day project with this floral flutter painting, and I hand lettered in "Be at Peace," and it was the perfect way for me to kind of end this project for now with grace and joy. If you're interested in painting some whimsical and wonky flutters in watercolor, head on over to my classroom at craftyourjoy.com and use the code craftyourjoy to get $5 off this course. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider sharing the joy by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. And you can take a look at some of my other card and watercolor tutorials right here. Again, I'm so grateful you could join me, and I'll see you next time.